Happy New Year, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world. Yes, it is New Year's 2021. It is 1:40 a.m. New Year's Day, Eastern Time, and I wanted to welcome you back to my block, Strongest Man, where today I'm going to discuss the Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Bjornsson boxing match. Is the outcome even in question? Ciao, homie. Welcome to My Block Strongest Man, where we bring attention to the world of strongman and show you how you can mimic those activities using everyday objects all around your own property. If you haven't done so yet, consider subscribing and remember to hit that bell button for all notifications so you'll know whenever I provide all the valuable content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So without further ado, on to today's topic. So, there's been a lot of discussion back and forth on social media and the internet about Eddie Hall fighting Hafthor Bjornsson after Hafthor supposedly called him out after the 501 kilogram deadlift, challenging Eddie Hall to a boxing match that apparently they both had received offers already for, so I don't know how much of a call out that actually is, but of course Eddie Hall quickly reciprocated, signed the contract, and it's on for September 2021. I can't believe I'm saying it's this year, 2021, in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, on to the discussion of who's going to win, and I'm really baffled as to how the outcome of this fight is even in question. On one side, you have a guy who has boxed before, who was brought up in a tough neighborhood where he had to fight all the time. And on the other side, you have a guy who, admittedly, I'm not going to pretend I'm unbiased. I am not a Thor fan. The whole 2017 World's Strongest Man debacle, I'm an Eddie Hall fan. I fall on that side. I won't pretend to be impartial, but I will tell the truth when I say I give Thor all the credit in the world for being one of the strongest men who's ever lived. He's incredibly strong and incredibly accomplished in many international competitions, and you can't take that away from him. We're talking boxing here. So if, I will always tell you I'm rooting for Eddie, but if Thor looks better in his practice, I will say I'm rooting for Eddie, but I'm worried for him. I'll be honest about that. I'm not worried for him. This is ridiculous. Seriously, let's go take a look. So, you're trying to tell me that this guy, and so right now I'm going to show you the first day of training of both guys, and then I'll show you the most recent day of training of both guys. So this is when Thor first, or at least the first video that I've seen. So look at, and there's jokes all over the internet on how you have to turn YouTube up to 1.25 speed to actually make this look real because it's so slow. And the counter argument that people are giving is he's working on technique and so forth. He's not trying to punch hard, and I get that, and he was very heavy here, so I get that you're going to be slow when you're that heavy, and he's since lost a lot of weight. They're saying 110 pounds that he's lost. In fact, I think that puts him at even lighter than Eddie, even though he's like 6.25 inches taller than Eddie is, which is amazing weight loss. And a lot of people are saying, see, look, he's slimming down and taking this boxing match really seriously, but, And he has said as much, but he's also talked about being around for his family, and I happen to think that when people talk, you have to take the entirety of what they say and kind of pick the truths that you think are the most prevailing argument, and I really think that Thor feels like he's accomplished as much as he needs to in strongman and wants to live. Like, he has kids, he has a wife, and I think he's losing all the weight to be healthy for his family, more so than for the boxing match. Eddie Hall, on the other hand, looks like an animal possessed, and I don't blame him. Whether you're a fan of Thor or you're a fan of Eddie, you can't doubt the fact that Thor has, in essence, defecated on his career. He called him a cheater in World's Strongest Man 2017, which was never really proven, and there is evidence out there that, and giving credit to Matt Rhodes Sport, he showed some of the documentation on this on his channel, that there is some evidence that Eddie Hall is kind of part owner of the parent company of World's Strongest Man with Colin Bryce and some other people, and I'll hand that to you. That's a conflict of interest. There's no doubt about that. It's definitely a conflict of interest. It doesn't, however, draw the conclusion that Eddie cheated. Like, even if you were to say, well, the Viking press was an event that was chosen for Eddie, which I don't think has been proven, or I haven't seen it been proven, but let's say it has. Any strongman worth their salt would say that I prepare the best for everything, and I'm good at everything. Like, if I were Thor, I would say, well, okay, this event is supposed to favor Eddie. I'm going to prove I'm better anyway. And like, all he did was complain. He didn't say, I'm going to prove I'm better anyway. He in fact seemed to do his best. Seemed to have been given some gifts on a couple of even more reps that were bad, and in fact, seemed happy with his performance until Eddie did more reps than him after, at which point he changed his tune, or at least that's what all the footage seems like. I mean, some of this stuff is edited, but that's what it seems like. So, you just saw Thor. Watch Eddie Hall's first session in boxing. So this is the one before Eddie has a trainer, where he's already started stacking up his home with a bunch of different implements. He has like this head tennis ball implement that I had never seen before, and heavy bag and speed bag. There you go. He's doing the tennis ball there. Let's get rid of the ad. And really good accuracy. First of all, I don't think I could do that. And then, so speed bag. So here, I mean, smooth. Like, that's smooth. You can't... I get a speed bag isn't a fight. I get that. But look how smooth he is. The coordination is unbelievable. And the reason the coordination is unbelievable is because he's boxed before. To my knowledge, Hafthor has not boxed before. So, yes, granted it was a charity boxing match, and granted I don't think Eddie won it. But, I mean... And he was a lot heavier here, too. Like, just... not the best defense in the world, but he didn't get hit, right? Like, he's moving straight back a little bit, but, keeping a boxer off of him and doing decently. So, he has boxed before. Now, going back here again, watch him hit this heavy bag and compare this to what I just showed you that Thor did. So, Eddie gets... I mean, look at this. First of all, he's hitting high, so he is practicing hitting a taller opponent, although I personally think he doesn't need to. I think he can end the fight easily with breaking one of Thor's ribs or a liver shot. He doesn't even need to hit him in the head ever. But you see his heavy bag work compared to Thor's at the beginning of their training. Now, let's move forward to something more contemporary. So this is December 12th, half a month ago, pretty recently. And this is Thor doing his sparring. And I gotta say, like I said, I'm not a Thor fan, but I gotta call it like I see it. I think his movement is decent here. His punches are still slow as anything, but, his foot movement is decent for this setup. Eddie, in watching his preparation, is not going to come at him this slow. So, and I'll show you that in a moment. But, okay, he's working the technique and what have you, but, I just don't know if Thor is focusing too much on technique or just doesn't have the fast twitch muscle fiber to throw punches much faster than this. Like, that one was a decent speed, that kind of mock body shot where, you could say, oh, well, they're not trying to knock each other out. He wasn't trying to knock out his sparring partner here with that body shot, but it had like kind of a little bit better speed to the body. But that looks like I'm playing it for you in slow motion, and I promise you I'm not. Like, where's the setting? I don't even think I know where the setting is. Playback speed normal. There you go. So, like, a lot of people have said if you put it on 1.25 times, then it looks like what actual boxing should look like. You tell me if you agree with... I don't want to make a mockery of the guy. Like I said, he's incredibly accomplished, like, 1,000,000 times more than I am in these disciplines. But, like, this actually looks more like boxing speed, and this is 25% sped up. So I just think he's way too slow. Like I said, his foot move is decent. He's keeping his head out of harm's way except for right there. Better than he had before. But let's go to what Eddie's been doing recently. And you tell me that you don't see a difference here. And, like, first of all, he's way more aggressive. He's throwing all of his torque into his punches. Look how much they're jerking back his sparring partner there, and he's not even throwing full power. Like, this is a crazy exponential difference in the generated power of one guy versus another one who are similarly strong otherwise. It's just one guy has boxed before and had street fights before, and the other one hasn't. And Eddie has just started training from the very beginning when this fight first became a thing, whereas Thor was focused on I think he was competing in Iceland's Strongest Man to win that again, if I'm not mistaken. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's an incredible accomplishment. But then don't go say here, like, you know, I'm going to dedicate the next year and a half of my life to this fight, because, like, you didn't start right away. You had focus on other things. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. They're great accomplishments, but it's just not a fair representation to say, like, where he said here, you know, where is it? Somewhere in this article, which I will put in the description for you, where he says, you know, I'm going to dedicate the next year and a half of my life to this. The other thing, too, is it mentions in this article about where he sparred with Conor McGregor. He's worked with Bas Rutten as well, and, like, this isn't MMA, so I'm not sure why that's relevant. Like, he did a lot of groundwork with Bas Rutten and other fighters or other trainers, and, like, that's not the kind of fight he's having with Eddie, so I don't get, like, maybe that's a hobby he likes on the side, but we can't count that as preparation for this, like, possessed animal that's coming at him. Like, the way I see it, like, I mean, again, like, look at this. And let's put it back to regular speed again. Sorry, let's put it back to regular speed. So we'll click my settings and playback speed and put it back to normal. Okay. And then let's just go back a bit. Okay. So I want you to look at this, and then I want you to look at this, and then be for real. Tell me that those two guys belong in the same ring or the same universe together in any kind of fighting combat. I mean, be for real. Seriously. Like I said, I'm an Eddie Hall fan and not a Thor fan, but your eyes can't deceive you. One guy is far, far ahead in preparation and in skill and in fast twitch muscle fiber, reaction time than the other guy is by leaps and bounds. And if the argument is, well, there's a lot of time left between now and the fight, Hafthor will improve, Eddie will too. Like, he'll always be ahead. So the other argument that usually comes up is, well, Hafthor has a huge height and size advantage. Well, the weight advantage is gone. Like, he arguably weighs less than Eddie now. The height advantage, you could say, is still an advantage, but I don't know if he's going to be able to actually use it as an advantage, right? So, like, I mean, check this out. So, granted, I'll give you, Frazier Ali is only a 3-inch height difference, I believe. So Frazier's listed at 6 foot and Ali was listed at 6'3", possibly 6'4". Hafthor and Eddie is a much bigger difference, so I won't pretend it's not. But, and I won't pretend Frazier won both fights either, but or all the fights. But in this particular one, he's coming forward, he's getting hit, and he's not being stopped. And the reason why he's not being stopped is because of determination. And it's not, so part of it is skill and part of it is determination. And so one thing is this. Hafthor seems like he's learning boxing because he's interested in learning a new discipline that could be a new challenge for him. Eddie is boxing because he wants to kill this guy. Like, Hafthor defecated on his career, which I think is especially unfair given he has the same career and they have, like, similar levels of elite success in that career. So, like, I tell this to my wife all the time when she says, you know, so-and-so said something offensive to me. And I say, well, it's not your close friend. It's not somebody you care about. It's you know, nobody that you see any day or speak to. Like, why does that bother you? If your close friend or your peer or somebody respected in your discipline said that to you, you would take it to heart. And that's what's happening here. Like, somebody else, Hafthor, at the very elite level of his discipline, is saying you cheated. And is, like, totally discrediting Eddie's career, and that's why it's so offensive, and Eddie has taken it so much to heart. Like, I have to damage this guy now. Like, who does he think he is? He knows what I've been through because he's been through it too. So, you know, seriously, like, again, I'm going to make another video about this where I talk about, because I've been rambling on for a while now, longer than I wanted to, but we'll make another video about how boxing matches are actually scored. And so things like here, what judges look for: effective aggression, ring generalship, defense, hard and clean punches. And we'll talk about how I think Eddie and Hafthor will conform to these 4 things, and, you know, why I think it's still a no-brainer for Eddie to win. But seriously, be for real. Like, be honest with yourself. If you're a Hafthor fan, if I'm an Eddie fan, and if I saw Eddie doing, you know, the things that I see Hafthor doing at half speed, like this, like if I saw Eddie doing this, I would tell you, I'm an Eddie fan, I hope he wins, but it ain't looking good for him. Like, I was a Miguel Cotto fan, and when he fought Floyd Mayweather, I said I really hope Cotto wins, but I don't think anybody can beat Mayweather. Like, you can root for somebody and be honest at the same time. So, you know, like I said, you gotta be for real. Like, there's no way that anybody who has boxed before or even trained with a trainer once before, like, I've trained with a multi-time world boxing champion one time in my life, and I was also learning technique like Hafthor claims to be doing, and yes, I wasn't 450 pounds, I'll give you that, but I threw my punches like 80% speed, you know? Like, you try to learn technique in the way that you will actually use it in a fight. You don't try to, like, you know, reach out for clouds in the air or imaginary ghosts or something. It's like, it's ridiculous. So I don't understand how the result of this fight is even in question, that anybody is even debating it. I don't. Like, I think it's a no-brainer that Eddie's going to win the fight. It's just a question of how. If you want to talk about endurance and whether the guys will last the whole way, then you have a discussion. Like, you could make a discussion for either of the guys not making it the whole way. Although they're both training really hard. Like, I think endurance is going to be the least of either one of their problems. I think Hafthor has lost a lot of weight, is working hard, and will have plenty of endurance. And I think Eddie has proven with all the rounds that he's doing in all of these many videos that he has plenty of endurance too. Like, I don't think that's going to be the problem that everybody else thinks it is. I just think Eddie's skill level is leaps and bounds ahead of Hafthor's, and so is his fast twitch reaction time. So that's what I have to say about the Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Julius Bjornsson boxing match. If you feel differently, and I'm sure there's thousands of people that do, feel free to tell me in the comments below. Please keep it respectful, and I will be respectful and kind. It's cool to have different opinions and have great discussions. I'm happy to learn from all of you, and leave me the comments below and we'll discuss. So I'm glad you dropped by to see the Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Julius Bjornsson boxing match pre-fight analysis. I have some more to come, and I hope to see you again next time. And of course, until then, ciao, homie. So if you like this video and want to learn more about any of the products I described during this video, make sure to check out the links in the description below. So if you like this video and haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing using that button right there. And also stay tuned for some other videos that you might love blooping up right there. This one is the one that YouTube thinks that you will like the best, and this one is the one that I think you will like the best. As always, share this with everyone, and until next time, ciao, homie.